Hey guys, welcome to another week of at Ping, and we've got one video submission this week. This comes from our buddy Jim Borman. Let's have a listen.
Hey Ping, what advice do you have for someone going to a motocross track for the first time, whether it be practice or their first race? Also, what should they carry with them as far as like first aid kits, and what information should they know prior to going on the track in case of an emergency?
All right, thanks Jim for sending that in. I appreciate it, man. What should people do going to a track for the first time? Good question. You know, there's some stuff that I think people can do to be a little bit safer. And we'll get to your second question here in a second. I think the first thing, and this is kind of old school, I don't feel like a ton of people do this anymore, but walk the track. You know, that was always something as a kid I always did when we went to a new place. You'd walk the track. And I don't see, obviously at Supercross we do that. I don't see it a lot at nationals or a lot of local races anymore. And man, it's important. You can learn so much about just seeing little lines and kind of knowing the track a little bit more intimately before you get out there on a bike. So I really recommend that. And any kind of jumps or any kind of obstacles on there that you might not know about, if you just got on your bike and took off, this is a chance for you to find them. Know the direction that the track goes. I know that seems really simple, but I've seen some jackasses hop on the wrong way and just grab a handful of throttle and almost kill people. So know which direction the track goes. Don't go alone. You know, whether, especially when you're going to a new track, if it's your local place and you go there all the time and you know a bunch of people out there, you're probably okay to go by yourself. If you have something go sideways and you crash, there's likely somebody there that knows who you are. They can kind of help load your bike up, you know, the things that you would need help with. So if you're going somewhere new, don't go alone. And then I always just say start slow, do a couple laps standing up, cruising, just checking the place out, get familiar with the jumps and the layout and where things are, and watch other people. I think that's a tool that if it doesn't get used a lot, it should. If you're trying to figure out a jump, stop and watch people. See how hard are they on the gas? Are they lifting up? Does it look really easy when they do it? You know, you can listen to somebody's tone of their bike and even watch what gear they're in. And, you know, if you see them come out of a turn and they're in second and they grab one gear, you know, okay, he's hitting it in third, half throttle. I mean, you can watch and listen and put that together, and then you're a lot closer on how hard you need to hit a jump, okay? So some things like that. Those are all really good. We'll get to there's some answers in the second part that also go to that first one. The second part of your question was, what do you need to bring in a bag with you if you're looking for like medical gear? And Jim, I know you had messaged me, you're USMCA coach or getting certified, so maybe this is something that goes along with that. And you know, the things we always ask on any call, but particularly traumas, any kind of medical history, any allergies, or do you take any medications? If you can find out those three things, whoever the first responder is that shows up on scene first, they're gonna wanna know that. You can help them with that. Outside of that, if they are having medical problems, have they had anything any shortness of breath, any chest pain, any dizziness, anything like that that's been going on chronically for the last several days, several hours? That's also good information to know. Emergency contact info, if you can get that. Always start with, you know, asking somebody for those things. Do you have any history, any medical history, any allergies, any medications? And then what's a good emergency contact for you? Those are just three basic things. That way, if something does happen, you know who to call. As far as, you know, if you put together a little track pack, some medical tape, a splint. SAM splints are really good because it's kind of like an aluminum base to it with some foam around it, so you can bend it and shape it into whether you need it for an ankle, tib, fib, you know, radius, ulna. You can bend it and make it work for a lot of joints. And then an ace bandage to go with that to hold that in place. And those three things, maybe some gauze, maybe something you could use as a tourniquet if you wanted to get kind of further down the road with that. There are a couple of like emergency track kits that they sell. Nothing that's super great specifically for motocross. And then the other thing I always tell people to know when you go somewhere, whether it's your local riding spot or someplace new, know the track address. If you have to call 911 because somebody gets hurt, what are you going to tell them? Maybe if it's a small town or they are familiar with this place, they'll know the name of the track. But if it's some little local track you guys have out in the hills, what are you going to tell them? Oh, it's so-and-so's, like, they're not going to know. You need an address, or at least major cross streets. When Christian Craig got hurt at our test track, I didn't know the address to the test track. There wasn't an address posted. So I had to drive back and meet the fire engine at the freeway and bring them in. So just think about that kind of stuff. There's lots to it, obviously, that'll get you started. I appreciate the letter. Thanks, Jim. Much appreciated, my man. Okay, next one comes to us from Reeby1. I don't know if this is a real name or what. Ping, you seem pretty fit right now. What kind of training are you doing? CrossFit still? Thanks for your contributions to the sport. I had to quit CrossFit. I as much as I love doing it, and I tried not to talk about it too much like most CrossFit nerds, but I loved it. I loved the competitive aspect of it. I loved that it combined, Olympic lifting with endurance, with, different type of gymnastic skills. It's just kind of a little of everything. And I don't know, I probably felt like a more well-rounded athlete when I was CrossFitting a lot than I ever have. But I got a little lazy with my stretches and rolling and stuff like that. And I got really tight joints to where my shoulders and hips were tight and hurt. So I had to stop. And took a couple years off. I'm back to a little bit of CrossFit, but I'm really trying to just have a more well-rounded routine. So I'd love to mountain bike, whether it's my Levo e-bike, or get on my road bike, or surfing, or moto, or snow skiing, or whatever it is. I just like sport. So I try to just incorporate some of the fun things that I enjoy doing. And moto to me is still one of the best workouts. I go out and get a couple 20-minute motos in. It wears me out. So I do try to do that, but I also do mix in some strength training here at the station. And some of it's just kind of old school weightlifting. And sometimes we'll do CrossFit workouts. I do a little bit of yoga. We play tennis once in a while. So I'm trying to mix it up so that I don't overwork any one joint. And as you get older, you got to take care of yourself a little more and work in, as Rhino likes to say, rather than work out. So I'm trying to just keep a nice steady, kind of a steady program of different things to keep kind of me, going on it, and to keep my body from falling apart. So that's that. Appreciate the question, my man. And last one. Hey, Ping. As a big AC fan, I was bummed he's leaving to get his arm cut open. At what point do these constant injuries end a racer's career? Scotty. Well, Scotty, I don't think he's going to just get cut open. I mean, I know he's having surgery, but he's going to fix an issue. And, he's making the right call. If this is really bothering him like he says it is for this long of a period of time, he's definitely doing the right thing to go get it fixed. Something about injuries is that they're cumulative. So, every time you have something happen, I think mentally, it kind of wears on you a little bit. So there is that. Now, his shoulders were his initial problem early on, right? He had the shallow sockets. And so that was a really rough period of him getting those fixed. But those aren't the issue now. It's something different. Let's hope this surgery works and he's good. I think one thing that, is determinative in how it's going to affect you is how do those injuries happen? And if it's a real heavy trauma, I think that is more psychologically damning than, like he's having this issue that's just sort of become chronic. It's not like he had a big crash and he hurt it. It's just sort of, over time has gotten worse and worse, and it's causing a numb hand and stuff like that. So I don't think this is going to affect him mentally, where it's going to, he's going to be tentative or timid, or it's going to affect his confidence. He's just pissed that his hand's going numb, and hopefully this fixes it. And I think some of it is age related too. As you get older, your brain develops. I think 25, 26 years old is a point at which a male brain is fully developed. So to that point, you have this sort of, like you're 6 feet tall or 10 feet tall and bulletproof, whatever that saying is. For me, it's only 6 feet because I'm so short, but you just feel like you're indestructible. And as you mature and you start to kind of realize, wow, I'm not, you start to process that a little differently. And for some people that can lead to timid riding, like we heard from Caleb Russell. He just said, I'm just not the guy that I was at one point, when he announced his retirement this week. So you see these guys, develop and get older and get wiser and kind of realize, wow, risk versus reward, is it still worth it? I want to have kids. I want to be able, I remember having that conversation with myself. Like, I want to be able to go, I thought I was going to have boys, play football with my kids and, take them riding and do all these things. And if I'm so beat up, I'm not going to be able to do it. And there's a lot of life left when you're done racing. And so guys have to consider that. But I think for AC, this is just him doing the right thing. He'll be ready to go for 22. Fingers crossed that this fixes his issue with his hand going numb and the weakness or whatever he was having there. I don't think it's anything to worry about. Your guy will be back. AC's a hard worker, and he knows he's a good decision maker. He's got good people in his camp. So wish him the best. I appreciate you sending in a letter. Everybody, thanks a lot for reading or watching, rather. And please don't, I had somebody send me an email that said, I'd send you a video email, but I'm too ugly. There's no such thing. I mean, people may make fun of you in the comments, but it's all right. Just send it. And if you're really not liking the way you look on camera, you can also send in a video note. Just send in a voice recording and we'll play your voice. That way you don't have to just hear mine the whole time. So anyway, thanks guys. See you next week.